Welcome back to another episode of Disciples of Truth. This week we welcome back Daniel on. Daniel from Cyanesis. It's not in studio today, it's alive and it's pre-recorded, but it's talking about a lot of topics that are going on in the world right now, and I'm hoping that you can take some knowledge from it and implement it into your life. Thank you for listening. Please like and share.
I don't know if you know. And yeah, it was very, very nice up there. Stockholm, super clean. I saw like two pigeons in total. I barely saw any pigeons, barely saw any homeless people. I went to so many churches, and I even went to this one nightclub as well. Met so many people. Yeah, people there pretty friendly, pretty nice. It's just a bit shabby with the vegan food, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. How long have you been vegan then?
Um, since the end of 2021. Yeah, I
Yeah.
watched one video from John Rolls, what's the healthiest diet for humans, and then immediately I was like, after that one video,
Yeah. You've never revisited it? No.
I've ate meat once since then, and that was a few months later when I was with my partner at the time. Um, they were going through some trials and tribulations with Chinese medicine. And it's
Yeah.
funny, the more I study Chinese medicine, the more I disagree with some little things.
Yeah.
So I decided to eat it, but like a piece of a cow.
Yeah.
But no, ever since then, I've had like a few inconveniences with like milk and dairy in certain things, but that's basically been since late 2021.
Yeah, yeah. And what like the people that you're knocking about with, are they all vegan as well? Or is it
Not really.
they-
Some are, most are, to be honest.
yeah.
But not all, not all.
Yeah. So just find it like I on the most part I am like eat vegetarian. But like last night we went to Five Guys and because I've gone out with friends and I'm finding the hard transition of going to the same, knocking about with the same people and not slipping into them holes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And same with like when I watch all you, and it's I'm not trying to compare myself. Like I see how disciplined you are in that area, but then I think you're not living with like all my family in this house. I have two children and a wife, and they all eat meat, and I have to prepare meals for them. Like I can't say. I don't want to be a dictator and say you can't have this and this ain't coming in the house because you've got to give them the free will as well.
Hmm.
It's challenging.
Oh yeah, very challenging. It's weird because it's not so much the actual meat itself or the plants itself. It's the reasoning behind it.
Yeah,
And you can reason pretty easily with yourself that you don't want to eat an animal that's been murdered. It has no other, point to live here than just like anyone else, to be honest. And then
yeah,
trying to put that reasoning across to someone like, hey, the plants have all the minerals you need, all the amino acids. There's literally nothing you need from an animal.
hmm,
It's hard to put that through. Actually, it's not hard. I take that back. It's actually quite easy. It's quite
yeah.
easy for someone to realize, actually, I don't need this, but it's one of the two forms of ignorance that I've learned. It's grasping and aversion.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think even after you've had it, you feel a lot denser. Well, your state of awareness is definitely shifted. Um, yeah. So, what are you most excited about now that you're working on?
My website and giving people astrological readings and helping people to break out of the 9 to 5, doing like mini readings for people and help guiding them into a place in life where they don't have to rely on this matrix, as people call it, for money, for sustenance, and to base their whole life and career around something. Because if you think about it, the whole education system is a very undermining thing. People go and get degrees and graduate for something even more and more specific. It's like you pay so much money to work an even smaller role in society, so you have what's called specialized knowledge, which is good, but I feel like within the matrix and doing that for the government is a big trap. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy I'm helping people break out of that and be themselves a bit more.
Yeah. What's your take on like I've just seen the video recently today. they were talking about, obviously, like Apple's bringing out the digital ID, that you have to have it on that, and then obviously the form of the apple and taking a bite, and it's like the analogy of um, eating from the tree of knowledge, the forbidden fruit. What? How do we like? Are we gonna have to go through this stage of ditching iPhones or ditching the smartphone and going back? How do you see it playing out?
Interesting. That's a very, very good question. So a lot of people recently have actually been going back to 2G and 3G phones.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting to see that. But people must remember that as technology advances, do you know how easy it is? I can do it. Anyone can. You can. Do you know how easy it is to hack someone on a 3G or a 2G phone? It's actually silly how easy it is spoofing and all of those internet things. So I don't think it would be wise to essentially go back in time and use what we had before in terms of
Hmm.
those phones. But I
Yeah.
can see exactly why people would want to do that. One thing I do highly recommend is for people to stand your ground when it comes to technology. And I think 5G, what we have right now, is enough because I'm pretty sure, as many people are aware, the higher the generation, 6G and 7G, the more harmful that is because the more radiation that emits and the powerful, the more energy it costs, the more powerful the impact on our brains is. So I feel like we need to stand our ground and hold on to things like applications like Telegram, Rumble, and those are thriving right now. Free speech in those are thriving right now. Even school.com, where people have the ability to share whatever they want without
It's
being
growing.
criticized, judged. Yeah, it's amazing. And I feel like a lot of the time people go and get like a 2G phone or a 3G phone and stuff out of fear because of this digital technocracy that's coming. And it is coming and it is going to shape our worlds. But there has to be a limit. I think right now where we are, if I can video call someone in Japan and I'm in London, that's fascinating. I don't think it
Yeah.
needs to go too much further. I don't think we need to get 6G. And it's quite amazing just having that as it is. We can connect to so many people across the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Like I've been saying to a lot of people for a while when I got into all this, and the guy was saying about the fourth industrial revolution. He says no one's talking about it. That's what this is, and he says like it's not. It's kick-started in Asia, where the robots and AI and drones are far more advanced than what it is here. And I've seen a video last week of you can pick up a robot for 1,600 quid now, and it's 3 foot 5, and it can do most of the tasks that you can do. And I'm like the job sector's we're gonna take a massive hit. But this is where I see where the digital ID is now, is if we're not complying before all the robots come over, because that'll just take us out of workforce and you won't have a choice because you'll already be enrolled in the digital ID and you like the universal basic income will be like your tokens to shut the fuck up and get out of the way. Um,
Mm,
but because I think what this where this where technology is going so great now, if used right, AI and robots and drones or whatever, and we live coinciding with it, it'll be a brilliant thing because it gives us more time to study astrology, to be more creative, to do the things that AI can't do. And I think that's what they're scared, like the powers that be, they don't, they're very scared and very aware that this is where that split's happening. I don't know what you think your take is on that.
I agree to a certain extent that when we use AI and robots and machines, and that's crazy that they're making them now and they have them parts of Asia. I think it can definitely help us when we look at machines in a way where it's like, okay, how can I use this machine? How can I create a software and a hardware that go hand in hand that can help me with my gardening, that can help me with my work, whatever it is. And then we find ways in which it can help us, but not do all the work for us. Then that's
Mhm.
amazing. We currently have machines in gardening, for example, that can take the temperature of the greenhouse of the building and look at the nutrients in the soil, and that is such an amazing thing. But to have those same machines now spray pesticides and measure, oh, this plant pot doesn't have enough of this pesticide. Let me go spray some more in there. That's where it goes wrong. And this is the same thing as spirituality and dualism. You can use things both for the good and both for the bad. So there are always people who will be against technology and against technocracy and AI, which I completely understand. But there's also ways to use it, for example, how we are now,
Hmm.
to spread good messages and good words. So there's definitely an agenda with when it comes to policing, in specific, because the
Yeah.
whole point of the digital ID, that is the foundation for a software inside a robot to recognize you and to treat you as that digital ID, because that digital ID will have a number, it will have a code, and that's the code that the robot will see. The robot
Mm.
won't see Dionysus, Danny Abreu. The robot won't see Craig, Disciples of Truth, and it won't understand all the philosophies and theologies that we discuss. Instead, it's just going to take that number and associate very few words and things with it and treat you based on that. And I think that's a very dangerous thing. No, it is a
Yeah.
very dangerous thing.
Yeah. And what are steps that you're taking back, because I see a lot of people talking about taking the sovereignty back. Is there any steps that you're doing to take your sovereignty back? Like,
At the moment, I think the best thing that anybody can do is just inform themselves on what is coming. So I've spent some time reading about what this digital ID is and how they're implementing it within the school system now, and they want to implement it within a few days actually, and essentially give children a digital ID through their primary, secondary, college, and then university years. And if they go into social care or social work, I think the best thing we can do right now is inform ourselves. The second best thing is not comply. And the third is to sign any petition that goes against what we think would encroach on our privacy and rights.
yeah, interesting, interesting. Yeah, because you see so many different people. I've seen Indigo Child saying the more that you sign these petitions, is you're giving them the backing to take it to the bank and say, look, we've got uh, so many people that have petitioned against it, so we've got some legs to give it to get it over the line. So it's hard. And I think that's what's so confusing with social media is you're getting all these different opinions out you at once. And it can be very confusing. Another topic I wanted to go on today is what about spirituality and like the spiritual, um, where is it going wrong in the groups?
I don't think it goes wrong in groups. I think it goes wrong within individuals first, and then
Yeah,
ultimately the groups.
yeah,
I don't think much is going wrong, to be honest. This is a cycle as any other, and people are bound to go wrong, and actually we have to go wrong to
yeah, yeah,
know where to go right. I think that's I think weirdly it's a beautiful thing to see people like bump their heads against the wall and realize that, hey, maybe this isn't the best sort of thing or the best way of life or the best thing to be putting out there. And it is a very weird stance to take, but the truth is if we don't make mistakes, we don't really learn.
yeah,
Um, at least for a lot of people, some people have insight and foresight into what they should and shouldn't be doing, and that can save them from a lot of trouble. But inevitably, we all have to make mistakes and learn in some shape, ways, or forms. I think in groups, as you mentioned, the one thing lacking from groups and everything is a bit of heart, is a bit of mercy, and compassion.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's a difficult one, isn't it? But yeah, I like just trying to think now. My mind's gone blank. Because I think as well, going through, what's your views on like the lone wolf stage as well? Like I've seen a lot of people talking about it and saying, yeah, it's good and maybe it's bad. Um, I think it's quite necessary that you pull yourself away sometimes to go inward and really see where you're at. I think that as well, the hard part is challenging when you're going through these notions and then you're going back into the same settings with people and it's not chiming,
Mm.
if that makes sense. Like I love my mates. I've not been out with them in ages. Like someone asked me the other day about what do you do for fun, and I had to sit back for fucking 20 minutes, like, what fucking do it? Apart from being with my kids and that, what do I do for fun anymore? Like, it's just got too serious. So we went to a gig last night. It was lovely. But there's obviously the no drinking aspect is still a alienated thing for me. Whereas they're drinking, I'm not, and it's trying to tap into this new identity. It's you're trying to merge yourself, and it's still feeling a bit weird. Is
Mm.
it? Do you still drink, or do you do you participate?
Alcohol?
Yeah,
Not at all, no.
no,
I'll have a beer once in a while when I'm out, but not at all. Like I had a beer in Sweden because I've obviously never been there. So I had I think a beer or two there, but before that, I think I generally don't remember the last time I drank alcohol. I tell you what, it wasn't this carnival just passed. It was the other one last year. Yeah, I think last year or the year before that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I went to an after party and I drank a bit of vodka and some mango. And that was the
What's the
last thing I remember.
concoction in it?
Yeah. And that was the last thing I remember. My body just gave out. And I knew drinking that I shouldn't have, and I didn't even drink a lot. The funny thing is, I did not drink a lot. But I think what it was is when I smoked after that. I think the Mary Jane sent it somewhere else because I do smoke, especially in the spring and summer. Now in the autumn and winter, I'm not really smoking too much at all.
Yeah,
But that was the last time I drank properly or anything as heavy as vodka, and it was very uncomfortable. Even drinking it, I felt it just burn my esophagus and just enter my stomach and completely burn. But the thing is, alcohol does have its benefits. For example, when making herbal medicine and other things, and if you go to Eastern Europe and certain places like that when it's very cold in the winter, it can warm up your body and warm up your engine if you have a very small amount in the morning. So there are certain benefits to it as it can kill bacteria and things, but definitely not on a night out for me.
yeah. What kind of benefits do you get from cannabis then? Using?
Me is socially. Socially,
Yeah,
I feel more at ease. I feel connected more. It makes me react more out of my heart than my mind. And that's why certain people are afraid to take substances because they're afraid to know themselves and different parts of themselves, at least in my opinion.
yeah,
I'm quite well experienced with cannabis and it's something that, at least for me, it works wonders in the social realm and just in partnerships as well. I've experienced a lot of cannabis with partners, having sex with partners on cannabis, going out
yeah,
to seeing certain gigs and listening to music, and mushrooms as well, but more so cannabis. It just gives you a different perspective, but it is good to know that that perspective comes from cannabis and not really from thyself. So it's good as an experience to take in.
yeah. So I found it the lack of motivation goes with me sometimes with cannabis, or it's like I get mind blocked. Like I've noticed it over the last couple of weeks. The brain just doesn't want to it's not as connected. But also in the same stamp as doing that, when I had I knew for that 2 week I just needed to chill out and just be a bit more grounded and just able to be relaxed and not try problem solve everything. Because I live up a lot in my head, always trying to problem solve. And it was just nice to just sit back and just go, no, not every week needs to be full on.
Yeah.
But
That's the
no,
thing with cannabis. Some people really have a good time with it, and some people really have a bad time. What I find is what you said. Either some people take it and they are super relaxed, right? And sometimes other people take it and their anxiety kicks in, their blood rate and their blood pressure goes up, their heart starts beating faster, they start secreting more sweat, they start thinking more. So it really just depends. And it's funny that, cannabis has this certain relationship or fame about it taking away forms of how can I say, just your passion, right? It has a fame of taking away passion, and actually cannabis is ruled by the sign Capricorn, and Capricorn is a sign that deals with career, fame, and hard work. People who have very heavy Capricorn placements or stelliums in Capricorn, and a stellium is basically more than two or three placements.
yeah,
They're very hard grafters. They work hard, and it's funny that cannabis is comes from there, and it either teaches people how to work harder with sativa or indica, or work less.
Yeah, yeah. Know when to step back.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's very funny that one.
What are you? How could the everyday person learn something from astrology?
The everyday person, interesting.
Yeah,
First, I would say to learn the days of the week and why we have 7 days of the week and why there are seven main gods or planes and planets, as some people call it. Um, Notice the subtle energies that you are able to play with. It's good to read books and take in information on a Wednesday. It's good to take care of your beauty and your health on Mondays and Fridays, as that's the moon and that's Venus. And like with everything, it's trial and error. You have to try these things for yourself. I was someone that if you was to ask me 5 years ago, right, or 6 years ago even, what is your astrology sign? I would tell you broccoli, asparagus. I'll give you something stupid on purpose to try and take the mick out of it.
yeah.
But sure enough, you give yourself that time to study it and to notice it for yourself. Don't believe in
Hmm.
anyone. Do it for yourself, and you'll notice that everything has a purpose and a meaning. So I think the everyday person should simply start with the days of the week and with reading into their north node in astrology, especially their north node. Out of everything in astrology, astrologers give a reading to someone and tell them, yep, this is what you are and this is who you are, basically their behaviors and their characteristics, which everybody already knows. But what astrologers really should focus on, and people who are really interested in astrology, or if they think astrology has nothing for them, is to look at the North Node.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. What's your take on that Atlas 3 that's in the sky, I reckon? Oh,
Right,
what's your
Atlas.
take? Yeah,
Oh, you asked me this on purpose. You know me.
yeah.
So yeah, many people are going crazy with Three Eye Atlas, and rightly so, because around that time I was in Sweden and I gave myself a bit of an empty stomach, and I didn't meditate. I'm not a very big meditator, um, but I did channel that connection with that Three Eye Atlas, right? And as you know, I'm someone who doesn't believe but knows that we live in a geocentric realm. So seeing a lot of people talk about Three Eye Atlas as if we live on a spinning flying ball is interesting, but it is essentially what many people have always said, that it is a being. It is a being, and it came closest in its perihelion to our realm. I think it was on the 29th of October or something, if I'm not mistaken. So it is a being like many others who have a purpose and have a mission, and people can deduct exactly what it is through Atlas and how it affects us through simply studying the changes. So I'm certainly not someone that believes it is something from outer space in a vast plethora of nothingness and somehow coming close to us. It has a meaning, like all things, and it's very interesting to see people wake up to the fact that it has an effect on us.
Yeah. How long's this Mercury retrograde going on for?
They only last about 3 weeks, but we have what's called a shadow phase.
Yeah,
So on the 21st of October is when the shadow phase began.
yeah,
And it will end somewhere around the 19th of December, if I'm not mistaken, or just or the end of this month. Its full retrograde will finish, but like I said, it's about a week or so after that until its shadow phase leaves us. So about I think the second week of I don't know when exactly, but I think in the second week of December is when we will be fully out of that retrograde business.
yeah. But I know we're both Virgos, aren't we? And I remember you saying the other day, get buckle up for February will be an hard month, and I'm like, oh please, it's gonna come again because you said in I know October were a hard month. It were brutal.
Yeah. October was a tough month. I made a video about that, and a lot of people resonated with it. Um, and it's funny because, like I said, a lot of the time an astrologer will tell you things that you already know. But when an astrologer or someone who practices divination of any sort is telling you that, it's more so to prepare and to keep in mind that yes, this will be a hard month, or yes, it will be an easy month. So on easy months, you prepare for hard months, and on hard months you prepare for easy months. You take it gentle on these hard months, and you remind yourself of what your purpose, your mission is, and you prepare in advance. That's the best thing.
In what way would you prepare it? Like, say, you know that February's gonna be quite hard. What steps would you take to then? You can't avoid it because obviously we're supposed to go through these trials and tribulations. It's just that's what's supposed to happen. But what would you try and make a softer landing?
Mm. Firstly, it would depend in which way it's going to be hard. For example, let's say this October, Saturn was going to go retrograde, right? Actually, it's coming out of retrograde very soon in a few days, which is amazing. I'm so excited for it. But let's say Saturn was going to go retrograde. Immediately, you have your house of Capricorn, which is your careers,
Mm.
fame, anything to do with the earth element. Food, perhaps, even though food is a bit more Taurus, anything with the earth element, and anything related to Capricorn with fame and career, you're
Hmm.
going to have to plan things in advance. So plan what it is that requires a lot of structure and foundation, and that's what Saturn rules in advance of that retrograde. Um, and be aware that you can plan for certain things, but other things, for example, Saturn rules the father and the grandfather of the family. So it might be wise to maybe plan some things with those figures in life, but you also have to accept that random things may happen with those people in your life
Yeah,
or parts of
yeah,
your chart.
yeah. And I think it's really great that you were covering the other day about these families, and there's a lot of people going through family dynamics, and you can see it across board. Everyone, like every conversation you overhear, but I think there's so much learning and lessons that we're all going through that's being shared. Like I know in my family, my dad, they go transition to being retired, and they're starting to learn so much more of you and your children. It is a beautiful thing, but there's so many dynamics within a family as well. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of feedbacks have you been getting from people?
I've been getting mainly I've been getting feedback from women who are struggling to deal with their male partners.
Yeah,
And funny enough, several women have reached out to me asking for advice and everything on how to deal with a child in between them. And it's funny because Jupiter is right now in Cancer, the sign of the mother. And even though it's retrograde, when Jupiter is in Cancer, it's exalted. So women right now are having an abundance of energy in taking care of their children, in taking care of their little ones around them, the land, the home, and they have very good energy for this, right? So
yeah,
when we have Saturn in retrograde at the moment, and even if it wasn't in retrograde, when someone does very well in something, it's easier to notice what doesn't do well for the things that they're doing well too.
yeah,
Does
100%.
that make sense?
Yeah. You also see, yeah, you've seen a lot of shifts in relationships of people just going their separate ways because they're not aligning, or it's like the veil's been lifted of they've not got so much in common, or someone's going one way and others going other. Um,
Oh, that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks because Mercury is going to go from Sagittarius retrograding back into Scorpio, and Scorpio is a sign of secrets and sex. So I'll just leave it at that.
that'll be interesting times and what.
Intense.
What are you most excited about then? What kind of transformations are you seeing with your students that you're teaching?
They're being more open-minded and more
Yeah,
open-hearted. I'm someone that likes to have a very open mind and a specific type of heart. A heart that is righteous, and loyal. I've actually helped several people transition from eating animals to eating plants, and they are continuously telling me how messages come to them, whether it's in the form of family members saying random things, or numbers, or astrology, or divination, or anything. One thing I'm proud of and that I'm seeing a lot, especially in the people in my school, is the fact that they're not going against anything that I'm sharing. They're not going against anything. And sometimes when they do, they approach it with sincere questions. And I think that's a very good thing, is that people are now more than ever, even though this is the age of Aquarius and Aquarius rules the superconscious mind or aspect of our cells, people are learning to be in touch with their hearts. And I think in times like these, when everybody is so science and fact based, um, people still have that ability to come to someone like me or yourself or other people and have a generous and open heart to learning things. I think that's the best and the biggest type of transformation that I'm seeing.
Yeah, but well, it's, yeah, that openness, isn't it? And I've realised as well, you don't need to. Sometimes you're waiting to be asked how to help them rather than trying to ram it down the throat.
Mm,
Because that's been one for me. And then you seem to have the right people that come up and are more inquisitive anyway. And that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Um, have you started optimizing school, the app?
yes, yes, yes. I've
Yeah,
started. I was with Patreon. Patreon? Yeah, I was with Patreon first, and now I'm with school, SKOOL.
yeah, man.
And it's quite amazing how you can pretty much compartmentalize different courses, videos and writings and blogs and different things on there.
Yeah,
You also have the ability to do live videos, so I quite enjoy that. And I didn't know why I didn't go into school first,
yeah,
but I'm quite happy with that decision, because there's somewhere where it actually is like an online school,
yeah,
and I constantly DM people in there. They have questions about the type of videos that I post that probably wouldn't be allowed on YouTube or Instagram. You know, these are documentaries and things that are made by people like myself who study the occult, who study esotericism. So talking about certain things on the wider internet perhaps isn't a wise idea, or a wide idea, but it is it's pretty interesting to see how much control you have over what and how you're teaching on school. I like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fantastic. Well, have you ever looked into doing like children's books with bringing astrology into it? Because we've just taken my daughter swimming this morning, and she started writing books for people with disabilities. That's not commonly known. Like a lady had got a young girl had got one arm missing, so she's written a book, something about Lola, and she says it's really taken off in America because they've all resonated with it. And I thought it's what a great way it is to try to start targeting the young minds. Obviously, if you can do that and you can open their minds up, that's about opening the next generation's mind, isn't it,
Mm.
to new possibilities.
It's funny you mentioned that, and you see this Jupiter and Cancer will push people towards, okay, but what are we doing for children?
Yeah.
I have a friend that lives and resides in Mauritius for about a year now, and it's funny studying astrology because you see it. She contacted me and said, "Hey, would you be okay with doing like lessons for my little daughter, talking about geocentrism, astrology, and veganism and other things?" And I said, "Of course." And now you're asking me this, and a few other people have said the same thing to me about. In specific with books and children, because up until a child is 7, their brainwave is different. And it's funny that the
Yeah.
Jesuits have a very famous quote saying, "Give me the child until he is 7 and I will show you the man." So now we have the alpha, beta, and theta waves that we're able to measure. But how are they measuring that a few hundred years ago? So these are instruments of occult science and occult knowledge that they were grasping on and that they still have, in which we are now able to see actually it is important that we give books and literacy and information to our children, so that we pass something on. We put something in their mind at a young age that is pure, which is astrology, the science of light.
Yeah. It's planting the seeds, isn't it? That's the whole part of it. And then they go and discover their own little ways of, because I think we briefly spoke the other day, Pythagoras, where he were on about it all. Um, and very interesting man, really, wasn't he? Because you couldn't get into his schools if you wasn't a vegan.
Yeah.
I did a bit of research on him, but there's not much out there, is there, on the back end of him? They only started writing about him 800 years after he died, which were really strange. So he must
Really
have been
strange, wasn't it?
some kind of a impact, really. But yeah. Mm. Um, what do you like? How do you have fun? Like, what do you do in your free time to connect on fun? Because I think for me, like over the last few years, it's been deep diving, and it's been too serious. And I'm just wanting to know
Mhm.
what you do to release, really.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me that. They say, "Oh, yeah, you're a spiritual person. How do you have fun?" Because this idea of having fun is always seen as a taboo thing in the spiritual community. Don't go clubbing, don't go drinking, don't do drugs, and don't do this and don't do that. For me, neti neti, which is a very old Sanskrit philosophy of not this and not that. So what is it? My own thing. And I think that's what people need to tap into is their own thing. Don't go along with an image that says, oh yeah, you're spiritual, don't do this, don't do that. Sit in your house, be peaceful, be kind to everyone, and meditate and transcend and get out of it, escape some sorrow. No. Um, to be honest, there's two ways in which we have fun. And some people might disagree, but there's a giving way and there's a receiving way, right? We go out to somewhere and we go for a gig and we drink some alcohol and we have fun. The alcohol is the in. Now that in is not positive, at least not in my opinion. That type
No.
of alcohol, and that then has its own little alchemy within us, and then out comes the funny things we say, out comes the nice time we have. And no one can deny that because if you have drank alcohol before with friends and with people, you know for a fact that that was an amazing time. But just because that was an amazing time does not mean that it was an amazing time inside.
Yeah.
What it has like in terms of like effects on us, right? So for fun, I'm someone that enjoys music. I enjoy mainly is social. For me, it's
Yeah.
social. I'm someone that thrives off social activity, going out, meeting people, talking to so many. I talked to about more than 100 people in Sweden in like one day. I'd be on the road just like talking to a random Asian guy, then an African guy, and then a Swedish guy, and it would just be so many different people for me. And I'll be honest, I get a bit high off that. I get a little bit high off that because it's my 10th house sits in Gemini, and in astrology that means yeah, use your due diligence in communication. So I think everybody has their own little way of fun. Um, it doesn't mean not to use drugs. It doesn't mean not to use alcohol. All in moderation. I'm someone that would consume wine, for example, because it's vegan and it's plant-based. Um, if I feel to. Problem is, I don't really feel to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm someone that's like, do what you wish to do, have fun however you wish to have fun, but bear in mind that when we have fun with things we consume, with things we take in terms of music, that then comes out in its own way, and that comes out in another fun way. And I look at it like that. It's good to have not a balance, but just an awareness that we must have some sort of a balance.
Yeah. So like it's freedom of expression of your own self, and that yeah, yeah. And it's like I think it's been like number one thing for me has been around my kids and seeing how they have fun, and I'm also tapping back into that, and you reliving your youth within that. So it's quite yeah, like even going to the play gym the other week were absolutely brilliant, and then just playing random games with them, and that's more of like stepping into fun.
Yeah.
Um, what does the future hold for you then? Do you see yourself up on stage being a leader, or are you quite happy doing the online stuff, or what is it? What's your vision with it?
Interesting question. I definitely see myself in a role of leadership, something that involves communication and a very big, hardworking career. Um, I think I thrive better off dealing with larger groups rather than one-to-one scenarios. I can't really say too much. I'm I'm just happy with where everything is going, and I think it's leading towards me being in a place of leadership and very high communication.
Yeah. Do you see yourself staying in the UK then? Or are you just open to whatever unfolds?
You know what? That's an amazing question. You see a lot. I see two different types of people. Number one, how dare you leave the homeland? You were born and raised here and everything. How dare you do that? Number two, and I see this from the same types of people, the same people that are British themselves and their whole families have been. Oh, if I was your age, I would leave, Danny. If I was in my 20s, I would leave. Like, plan on doing that. Now, I speak three languages. I speak English, Portuguese, and Spanish fluently, top to bottom, bottom to top. I have the ability to go anywhere in North and South America, Portugal, Spain, and even other places. I could learn a language as quick as I want, if I wish. Now, leaving the UK, at the moment, that wouldn't be a very wise idea for me. This city life and London life, contrary to what many people might think, is actually very beneficial for me. Extremely beneficial for the type of person that I want to become. And it has its ups and downs, as everything and everywhere has. So I do plan on leaving the UK. I was never drawn to living here long term for a few reasons, simply because of the weather mainly. I'm someone that thrives and loves to live off the closer to the sun, but not because of like I don't mind it being rainy and pissing down. I generally do not mind having like 2, 3 months of rain and darkness. What I do mind is not having control over the fruit and veg that I consume. So that's the reason why I want to go into having my own space, probably in my island, on my island, perhaps somewhere in Spain, Portugal, South America. At the moment, I do not know, but there are very interesting programs that Portugal is offering for people like myself who would like to move there. So perhaps somewhere along the lines of that, because Portugal is ruled by Pisces
Yeah. There's a lot of land up for grabs over in Portugal, isn't there?
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah. I
plenty.
seen Indigo Child, he were auctioning a lot off. And then I've one of the ladies who came on, Leanne, she's going out there. She's gone and done a off-grid retreat, and she says it was that good. She says she's moving out there next year. She says it was just phenomenal, the people that you're meeting, and that's it. It sounds so exciting, really, doesn't it? Everyone bringing their own bit of the magic to it.
Yeah, yeah. Portugal's amazing, man. And I've only visited Portugal when I was very little, in a few places. I think Lisbon and in the north. And studying and seeing everybody there now, like Pineal Foundation, Indigo, it's a place where it's becoming highly spiritual, and the vibration of Portugal has risen over the past decade tremendously. And I've seen a lot of astrologers and divinators say that Portugal has a pretty low vibration, and I could agree. It has a lot of Masonic and Templar influence, which in some areas and ways increase the vibration, and in others decrease. Um, but nevertheless, it's a land that is ruled by Pisces, highly emotional and highly spiritual, intuitive. So people who are of a water sign, people who are of an earth sign, and Pisceans themselves with heavy Piscean placements and their north node in Pisces, that is an amazing place to go, because the land and the soil there is good for the most part, depending on where you are. And people that you find there, there's a lot of vegans out there. There's a lot of people doing interesting retreats there. So it's definitely somewhere I could potentially see myself living in.
It sounds good. I know we touched on it a bit last time about Freemasons. Do you believe that there's Freemasons with good intentions, or they've all got bad intentions?
The Freemasons with good intentions don't have power, the same type of power as the Freemasons with bad intentions.
Yeah. So once they get to the point of where the power sits, something changes within.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I, I found it interesting because even when you sign up, you've got to claim an oath that there's a new leader and you're not really told who that leader, like what you're following.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's the
like,
point of Freemasonry. They tell you before you join, you must believe in a higher source. So the whole point of it is that they want you to believe in something higher and more powerful outside of yourself.
yeah. And you're giving up your power to that as well. It's interesting that you've well, it's funny how it's going to play out in it. And I see, how do you see religions playing out at the moment? Because there's a lot of Christianity stuff about in there. Like, and I think some people are getting real. I see it being quite scary in some instances that it's that I'm right and you're wrong game, which is it can be very dangerous. There's no trying to word it right without pissing people off.
There is no way to word it right.
Yeah, it's just like there's a few people. It's like you must accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Like that sounds like a forceful energy. I don't have to do anything, Like again, it's something outside of you. What's your take on it all? And where's it come to a head?
Honestly, in my opinion, I think there will be something along the lines of what's called a Project Bluebeam that is going to come along and shatter religion, shatter people's religious beliefs, and very few people will even grow stronger from an event like that. Especially within Christianity, I feel there's going to be a surge in highly spiritual Christians, but nevertheless, I feel like for there to be a one world order, people need to feel like we are all one. Now, how are we going to feel if we are all one if practically half the world is Muslim and half the world is Christian in the Western Hemisphere? So it's going to be a very, very big battle in a way. But whether it's through World War III or whether it's through a Project Bluebeam, in which people then hand over their belief and their power to science and the heliocentric system, and that, oh, finally, look, there's this race from somewhere out there that has approached us. There we go. That's a lot of Christians and a lot of Muslims have exited the chat, and it's going to be this science which is going to be a higher form of religion. So that's where I see things going is what they've always been trying ever since the ages of Isaac Newton and Pythagoras, the early Freemasons, um, is trying to make science a religion, to establish that technocracy.
Yeah, yeah. Because we went to a concert last night and went to see Dead President. They're very political in how they talk, and they're like, "Fuck Trump, fuck this, fuck that," it's and they're like, "Malcolm X is good." Yeah, but again, they were Freemasons within it, so it's like, where does it stop? We've got to stop putting his powers into other people and start realizing that we are the change within it. I think in Italy at the moment there's a massive strikes on where they're just refusing to go to work. It's not, and they said the revolution won't be televised because it's popping off left, right, and centre. Is it Nepal that they also threw over the government?
Mm,
And they in the same day they got telegram and they voted in a new prime minister.
yeah,
But the power is there to be overturned. It's where how much are we gonna tolerate and how much are we gonna stand at the gate and say no, this is it. We're not taking anymore. It's interesting to where that's gonna come in.
yeah. I think many, many people now. There's been this shift over the past 2 months, at least for most people, where we had the whole Charlie Kirk and everything happening. It was more of a collective feeling and energy. And I think now it's starting to shift slowly back to your individual selves.
Yeah,
And then we will see this happen in waves. We will see this happen in waves, I think, for the next 8 years.
yeah. Yeah, because my mind now, I try not to focus on all the things that's going out of my power. Just I'm trying to think what we all need to do is step into the person who we need to be, like get the credentials right. Like I want to do lead, I want to be a leader. I want to be at a point of where we've got our own businesses, but it includes community and building up and letting children be who they need to be. But to have all them credentials, I haven't built on that character yet, so I'm starting to put the work in behind the scenes. And I think I listened to someone the other day said the confidence doesn't come at start; it comes through your trials and tribulations and your mistakes that you're going to make on the way to being that person. And I think so many people are scared of taking them steps, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. It's not easy taking that first step. It's a lot of what is this? Who am I? What's going on? What do I do? How do I do it? Where do I go after? It's a whole new world, as they say, a whole new world. And it's never an easy job to step into that whole new world. But one thing we do have to remember is that if we don't do it, no one else will for us.
Yeah, no one else is coming to save you. That's the key takeaway point.
Mhm.
Uh, what have you got on this weekend? You going? You got one?
Um, I think this is going to be a very quiet weekend for myself. It's quite rainy and I love it. Contrary to what people believe, and even myself, I do love living in the sun and in the heat, but it's just amazing being indoors and listening to every single raindrop on the window whilst I'm studying, whilst I'm reading. For example, today I woke up at 7, done my yoga, done my workout, immediately 2 hours of studying, and now this, and I just work so well when it's raining outside because
Yeah, yeah.
indoors it's like amazing.
It takes all distractions out, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think I've covered what I needed to cover because what I was going to do is I had a couple of key points and we were all bounce off each other. So I didn't structure a load of questions together because I thought we were all. But thank you for your time today. And I'm sure we'll have another catch up. Um, yeah, I feel like at the moment since I had that cannabis 2 weeks ago, my flow state just isn't there, and I think that's also a point for me. It's just not to revisit it for a while. Just let it
Really?
go back. Yeah, I feel like I've lost, like my conversations could just flow or there were topics. It seems like there's a brain barrier. Um, and even like getting out of bed and not like I used to meditate daily and it's been sleeping in, not being able to get to that. So I see that there's the universe going, yeah, you've had your little break with it. It's not for you. Like you need to home in. And it
Yeah.
feels like a superpower that's gone where conversations and new topics will just roll off the tongue, and well, you can hear it within me. It's not coming through so fluently.
Yeah. Do you know whether or not it was sativa or indica and if it was outdoor or indoor?
I had it indoor. What they were grown by? It'd have been one were from Canada. It'd have been sativa, I think.
Sativa. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't smoke. I don't want like it's so hard to get a low strain because I like it's not even about getting the stoned. I like the taste of it. So I don't want it to blow my socks off. But everyone who sells it around our area is like, oh no, this is a strong. I don't want that.
I don't want
I,
that. Yeah.
I don't want that head numbing
Same.
shit. I want the nice, chilled smoke that tastes nice. And
Yes.
because I knew I smoked in my teenage years, I smoked it religiously every day. We started on solid at first, and then we went on to skunk, and skunk was just too strong. It got too strong, and I was just
Oh,
yeah.
I know. I had those days as well.
Yeah, I lost countless jobs of not getting out of bed. I just couldn't get my ass out of bed. So
It
you
it
live and
just it
learn.
just adds such a heavy like weight to you that skunk. And one thing I realized is because at one point I was like, no, F weed, it's the worst thing. It makes you lazy. It doesn't let you do this. It doesn't let you do that. But actually, I've come now to understand that now that I have purpose and a plan, and I've I don't want to say woken up to something, but it's what people understand, what you give the image of when you say awaken to something.
Yeah,
It's almost like I awaken myself out of this dream, and it's like, oh, okay, so in the dream, that was me, like getting used by the weed and letting myself getting used by it. But now that
yeah,
I'm out of that dream and I've stepped into my purpose, it's like I don't even feel drawn to smoke right now. I don't even feel drawn to do any of these things because it's just not that time. But when a weekend comes, for example, I don't want that super heavy, strong stuff to knock me out, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
it carries on to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday where I still feel it in my system, even though I haven't smoked it or taken it in days. It's like you said, people now are invested and so heavily into this super heavy Cali and indoor grown stuff. What the hell happened to the outdoor? and the very light, normal stuff. And every single time, and I mean this, every single time that I smoke the outdoor stuff, the things that were grown outdoor, I've never had a bad experience with that.
Yeah. Well, next time I meet, I might have to get a bit off you.
Yeah.
The
Well, I don't even know anyone that sells any of the outdoor stuff. It's just once in a blue moon, I come across
yeah.
someone who has it on them, and then I'm like, I just want to try it because I'm like, is this really the outdoor stuff? And when I inhale it, it's like it puts me in a certain state of vibration, and I'm like, this is what it's like. So
Do you,
I just recognize the cannabinoids in my system more and more.
yeah. Do you use it within meditation then? Or do you just use it as a social thing?
I have used it in meditation,
Yeah.
and it's given me some good and some bad experiences.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had cannabis and smoked cannabis and meditated, and it's given me a bit of anxiety, or it's raced my thoughts, or it's raced my hearts. And other times, to be honest, it's I wouldn't say it helped my meditation, but it made my meditation a bit more smoother. So I guess it helps in some shape, ways, or forms. But I
Yeah.
think the best way to use it with meditation is not smoking, is consuming it within an edible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was speaking to someone the other day and he says he puts it in with his teas. Like,
Yeah.
he says that's quite a good, which I've never tried. But
Oh man,
last time it monged me out. I was just sunk back into the chair and like, yeah.
I like
I,
that word,
I,
mong. Yeah, in a tea, if you take a pot and you take some grinded cannabis and you put it in there and you put like some coconut oil in there as well, just under a teaspoon or something like
yeah.
that. It's a good amount. And you boil it for about 30 to 40 minutes until it starts to take the color out of it. And it's decarboxed and you see like the brown and the dark green come out. That is when you can have it in a tea. But I warn you, that tea cannabis is no joke.
Is it?
Yes, that's no joke. A few times, I think one of the past couple times I went to Carnival, me and my friend were at my house, right down there in the kitchen, right in my house, and we made an amazing. We had very good herb, and it was from the government. It was legal herb that they grow over here.
Yeah.
Um, and boy, I had some of that tea, and it completely knocked me out. It doesn't matter what sound system I walked through in Carnival, Rampage, non-Rampage. I was just there like, huh.
Hit them.
Yeah, it was a bit strong, but now I know to just have it in moderation.
That's something I wanted to touch on. The 13-month calendar, do you think that's got a chance of coming back in the whole like reset kind of thing? Just because
13-month calendar.
just
Um,
because I know the women's cycle changes around it, and I've started to look. If you look at ancestors, and we've started to we studied like fourth when the enemas, we started to watch the birds, and we watched how they did it, and like, oh, we can do that. I've started to look at peaceful animals that are led well. You look at ant colonies and you look at bees, how they work. They've got the female, the leader, and everything seems to be harmonious within it. And I thought, well, if you're teaching women that the menstrual cycles are actually following the moon cycles, is a more feminine, and everyone says there's more feminine energy in the world. Is that where you start to realize we could go back to a 13-month calendar and there might actually be a female leader to come?
well, yeah, I mean, it's funny you said it because one of the books that I'm reading and breaking down in my school online right now is called uh, The Light of Egypt.
Oh,
And
cool.
it speaks about certain ages and periods of time being ruled by different archangels, and those archangels represent one of the seven planets. So right now we are in the solar years of the archangel Saint Michael, and up until about 2187 is when that will finish, somewhere around then, 2180 or 50 something, and then comes the time of Venus, which is feminine. So
Yeah.
that is something that definitely will happen. Because we are essentially in a corrupt patriarchy at the moment. And the whole of the past 2,000 years has been a slightly corrupt patriarchy, and it's been a very horrible time for women for the past 2,000 years in terms of their rights, and everything that's developed is mainly for men, and it's quite disgusting. So I wouldn't mind for 13 months to come back. What I would say is that there are not 13 signs in the zodiac.
Yeah. What is not 13 in Chinese one?
Yes, the dragon or the Dogon is in the
Yeah.
middle, and everything else around it, or some
Yeah.
some of them have the dragon as one of them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and also Babylonian and Chaldean. Yeah,
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? But which one do you use predominantly? The astrology chart?
Chinese and Western.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In which scenario would you use one over the other?
It depends. So if I'm going to do horary astrology, which is basically if you were to ask me a question right now, I draw up a chart based on that question,
Yeah.
and that would give me the answer to whatever question you ask me. That I would have to use Western or True Sidereal. Um, but in terms of reading people, their energies, their attributes, and who it is that they are as a person and where they fit in the world and what would help them. I think Chinese combined with Western is absolutely amazing. The amount of readings I've done and the amount of books I've read with readings in them have have been beyond precise. It's quite scary.
Yeah. Just for instance, like I'm gonna be going and doing a talk next Friday and doing it at Toastmasters because obviously, again, I'm trying to build the character that I need to be. So it's if I looked on astrology and it said not to go to it, what key points would I look for to go to it or not to go to it?
So wait, say that again. It said a vial, you said?
So like I'm going to a Toastmasters I think it's next Friday.
Hmm.
So what if you were to look at a placement and it said what would be the standout things that would say that I should go to it or I shouldn't go?
In terms of astrology.
Yeah,
Oh, as in what things you should or shouldn't mention there.
yeah. So if I were to look at
That's a good question. I mean, it depends. I think if you can show people what you already see in yourself, for example, you said your sun is in Virgo.
yeah,
Um, Talk about your sun, moon, and rising, and describe who you are and your actions, and maybe pick up from some people in the crowd and find out their placements, and just describe to them little things about that sign, and maybe people would be influenced to maybe research more, because very quickly and soon enough people will start to realize that astrology is a science and not a pseudoscience, and the basis of, for example, the sine wave in maths comes from astrology, and so many other things. Is quite interesting. I think since it's a Toastmasters and it's only a one-time thing, keep things
yeah,
basic, but try to offer some sort of inspiration.
yeah,
A thing that people miss out a lot is that in Western astrology it's more specific, but in Chinese astrology it's a bit more grand, and it can be more specific. But for example, this is a year of the snake, which is about shedding and endings and beginnings, and so on and so forth. Funny enough, this year also comes to a number nine, which is the last number. Numbers really and truly only exist from one to nine, um, and the rest is just pretty much repeated, or zero to nine, and the rest is pretty much repeated. So if you could show people about how, oh, Chinese astrology says that this is a snake year, lo and behold, a snake means shedding the skin of the snake, wisdom, the serpent, the kundalini, so on and so forth. I think people will be much more inclined to listen to something like that rather than the specifics of Western astrology.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah. Interesting. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with audience today? Anything that you're going through or
Mm, Good question. I highly recommend everybody to look into their North Node in astrology and align yourself to the North Node. And I think if people do that more and more, they will break out of the need for anything outside of them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's all.
yeah. No, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you likewise for hosting me. Thank you. Always a
You have
pleasure.
a you have a great weekend, mate.
You too, brother. Take care. Take care.
Peace out. Peace out, bro.